Io mi occupo di logistica.
I deal with logistics in Italy, and I am the person who is responsible for corporate processes concerning the Italian territory. We're talking about very high figures, but I wanted to give you some more general facts about our company. We have a turnover of 3,468 million euros. Half the turnover comes from Italy, 45%. Sorry, the speaker apologizes. 30% in Europe, more or less, 19% in America, in the Americas, and the rest between among Asia, Africa, and Australia. So we produce bakery-related products and pasta. The firm was established over 140 years ago. It's a family-run business. So the three Barilla brothers, the fourth generation, who lead the company, the group. It is a big company, as I said, some 1.8 million tons of products sold every year, over 8,300 staff. Some brands you will be familiar with as consumers, some others are less known because they are produced and sold in other nations, in the nations of origin. Our mission consists in this: good for you, good for the planet. As I said, it is a commitment that goes from field to table. So it does not just have to do with production, manufacturing processes, but also in finding types of farming practices that are even ever more sustainable. In the case of durum wheat production, for instance, clearly, of course, all corporate processes and corporate phases are required to contribute to this overall goal. These are our reference KPIs, and since we started measuring the main resources and waste, particularly CO2 emissions and water consumption, since 2010, when we started taking these measurements, CO2 reduction was 29%, whereas in the case of water, reduction in water consumption for our production processes amounts to 23%. Clearly, I am a technical expert and I deal with logistics. And we need to focus on the tasks that my unit carries out. And I wanted to illustrate what our Italian network is. We've got 10 production plants. 3 of them produce pasta, 6 produce bakery products, and 1 produces gravy, sauce. We've got a main distribution network, so warehouses near these production plants that reach directly our customers. And then we have a second-tier distribution network, which is made up of 7 warehouses all over the territory that distribute goods to the smaller customers, reading all the areas in Italy. Our figures are basically these. In Italy, we sell 755,000 tons of products. We have a full track transportation numbers, which is over 91,000 deliveries. And for a long time, we have included in our IT systems for logistics the measurement of CO2 emissions for every leg, or every journey of transportation. And for each truck, we measure the amount of CO2 that we release into the atmosphere. Why? Well, in order to take measurements of what are the benefits of the projects that we implement in order to decrease our emissions. This is what we base our tender procedures on. So these are our standards. I want to stress that our logistics is outsourced, so we have a number of transportation, distribution, and warehousing partners, and so external providers. And these are the specifications. And at the moment, in our calls for bids since 2014, we require diesel fuel, diesel engine, Euro 6 trucks, and in our call for bids, we state that we want liquid methane fueled vehicles as a preferential criterion. Of course, this is not something that exists all over Italy. I mean, the inadequate distribution network, particularly in the central and southern regions, Italian regions, there are no refilling stations, or at least they're not sufficient. So at the moment, this is still a preferential element, not the only one. And I have to say that our logistics providers, because liquid LNG fuel trucks have only been introduced recently. They're not so sure how they will be maintained over time, and because a large-scale logistics has to be efficient, we need to counterbalance efficiency and effectiveness. And clearly, this is one of the goals we have set ourselves. With reference to transportation, every year our company publishes a sustainability report. This is the cover of the 2018 report. Logistics and transportation must play a part. And here we have a breakdown or details concerning all our projects. I cannot list them all because there are too many. I'm talking about transportation-related projects. Of course, there are also those concerning warehousing. But anyway, as far as transportation is concerned, one of our goals consists in increasing recourse to intermodality to move large volumes. This, unfortunately, is not always possible for a series of infrastructural deficiencies, which in Italy, I'm afraid, are common. We use Euro 6 vehicles, and here we have the measurement of how many more Euro 6 vehicles we managed to introduce versus 2017. We look at the improvement of primary elements such as saturation and improvement in the way in which we carry out transportation, and then the introduction of liquid methane fueled vehicles. We have been interested in these vehicles right from the start. We are in touch with manufacturers of industrial vehicles, and we have experimented all that we could experiment with. So precisely to contribute in a concrete manner to the corporate goal, good for you, good for the planet. And this is our current makeup of our truck fleet in Italy. As you can see, there is a rather significant share of Euro 6 vehicles, some 32%. Then we have 37% of Euro 5 vehicles. Then we got Euro 4, 13%, and unfortunately a rather high amount of Euro 3 vehicles. We don't have vehicles older than Euro 3. So this is our primary goal, because I think that it is important. We speak about a lot of sustainability and what we can do. Well, we think that it is important to do something right away. And as a consequence, one of the immediate goals we have is try and understand how to replace older vehicles, less sustainable ones. It's not easy, particularly in some Italian regions, but it is our main goal. So gradually, we want to get to a fleet almost exclusively made up of Euro 6 vehicles. As you can see in the lower part of the screen, there is a comparison between our current composition and that of the general fleets in Italy. I can say that our figures are much better than the Italian average overall. We're talking about very obsolete fleet, which is operating in Italy, but there still is a lot to do, and this is our more immediate goal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stabellini. I think, everything is quite clear. The difficulties are basically related to this LNG, particularly supply in certain parts of Italy. So what are your expectations? Because I would imagine that the same goes for biogas. Well, at the moment, there are 38 refilling stations for liquid methane. Supply is not very easy in the central and southern Italian regions. So the south of Italy and the islands are very important for us, but at the moment there are no alternatives. And we also we were very happy to accept this invitation by the CIB, because we believe that through our most important logistics suppliers we can go in this direction, and we can no doubt promote the use of liquid methane, which we think will be available shortly, since we need to do something right away for the environment, where we think it is very important to explore this opportunity. Thank you.